Okay, I thought that was a recording. I was going to say, wow, that's good. All right, so we're at 302, and I will say that welcome to KUAW Radio, and this is a broadcast of the Black Family Technology Awareness Association with one of our latest shows that is out here, the Digi, what was it, Digi
Sis,
Lady?
Digi sis,
Digi Sis. I knew it wasn't girls.
in
so,
a Digi world.
all right, this is Digi Sis in the Digi world. This is KUAW Radio. We're so glad that you could join us today, and we hope that you enjoy this presentation that we're bringing to you. And now here's our host, Miss Ina Montgomery.
Well, hello, everybody. How are you doing? I am back for my second show of a Digi sis in a Digi world, bringing you information about K through 12 education technology specific to the urban core. And so I thought that the urban core needed a voice and at least some exposure of the great education technology happenings, activities that are going on, as well as just keeping us informed on the digital access concern about broadband. In addition to digital literacy, meaning are our kids learning what they should to be developed, prepared rather for the 21st century workforce. So I'm excited about this platform. I'm excited about having a voice. I'm excited about bringing light to the urban core, which is always the last to be on board. And so, as I said in the first show, the onus is on us. We have got to take care of our community. We've got to create this technology ecosystem, this technology village where we're supporting each other. So again, I'm looking forward to again, this platform. So today, with all the homeschooling going on, I thought it would be great to start featuring different Black families in different shapes and forms and sizes, and talk about how they have acclimated their households into online learning. And so this thing just kind of caught us off guard. Parents didn't have like training, they didn't get a chance to prepare. It just came. It just schools were closed, and boom, your kids are at home. So how does this look in different households? So what I'm going to do over the next couple of weeks is just talk to a different parent or different family and hear about their experiences, what they're doing at home, lessons learned, best practices. Do they have a routine set up? And so I'm excited about bringing you that information. I'm going to focus today on a sibling who is taking care of her siblings. And so she happens to be my mentee. And so I'm really excited to have her on. Very responsible young lady. She attends Paseo. Woo woo, Pirates. You there?
Yes, ma'am.
And so she's going to talk about her experience. And so in her household, her mother and father have to work. So in talking to her mother the other day, her mother was saying how it's such a blessing, how she has just stepped in to take care of her younger sisters and to make sure that they have a routine for their homeschooling. So I'm going to ask Felania Johnson to share some words with us. Tell me, Felania, how is that going at home with your sisters?
All right. So we have a routine every day, and I make sure that they wake up on time, get ready for school. I make them dress appropriate for school. And then I let them get a chance to eat breakfast. And after they're done with that, we start on the online classes. But we have an issue because I'm a senior and my little sister's an elementary student, so she didn't have a laptop or a device to get on her Zoom meeting classes. And it was tough for me to let her use my computer while I had to miss out on the first half of my class. But I let her use my laptop, and it's hard to communicate with the teachers or tell them I have to wait on my sister to get finished with her work.
So there's some challenges as far as the technology in your household, and you're saying you're having to share the one device with your sister who also needs access to a computer so she can zoom in on her classes.
Yes, ma'am. And we have the same times when we have to be in our classes, so it's kind of hard to be in both classes at once. I try to get on with my phone, but it kicks me out. So
Okay, now with your Chromebook you have, does that have Wi-Fi, or did you receive one of the hotspots as well so you could have internet access at home?
we have Wi-Fi at home, so we didn't need to get a hotspot or anything.
Okay. Can you tell me about your experience with the classes that you're taking? And you guys are using Zoom, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so how is that working for you?
It's been going pretty well. It's kind of hard to get all the seniors in or the students in the classrooms because no one wants to join it. So the teachers will give us work to do in Google Classroom, and we're responsible for checking Google Classroom, and then we have to join the Zoom meetings for attendance grade. It's been going pretty good. So right now, as in now.
Yeah, and it's been what, 4 weeks since you've been doing, how long has it been since you've been doing this?
hmm, Probably about 4 or 5 weeks.
About 4 or 5 weeks, and more than likely through the end of the school year.
Yes.
Uh, yeah. So have you guys heard anything yet? Because you're a senior. Woo woo. In fact, she is the Pixel valedictorian. She's a class president. So I'm so proud of her. So have you guys, I think you told me you're in communication with your school. And have they said anything yet about graduation, how that's going to look, do you know?
No. Well, they said that it may be pushed back until August or July, but we haven't had any new information about that yet. But we have senior meetings every Friday on Zoom,
Okay.
so they can keep us updated. But they haven't had any new information for us yet.
Okay, so it sounds like they would like to have a graduation. Your family can come, or I think you were saying maybe the tickets would be limited, but they would like to have an in-person graduation. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. So tell me about some of the challenges with homeschooling your two sisters. Did you have to like refresh your memory with the content to help out, with their classes, the math, the reading? How's that working for you?
Yes, I didn't want to go to Google. I had to think and do a little brainstorm thing. It kind of took me back a long time ago because it's it was so old, and I'm just like, it was. I lost my train of thought when I helped them, but we did go to Google for some steps on how to do certain things because I didn't have the answer to everything that they worked on. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Now, are you checking their work? Like if they do an assignment, are you able to look it over to make sure that they got it right?
Yes, before they submit their work on Google Classroom, I always make sure that they're doing the right thing. I don't want them to turn in something just because, or, I still motivate them or push them to do good in school because, just because this pandemic is going on, they're still getting work and I want them to stay on top of everything.
Okay, so you're pleased with what they're learning online, or are they comprehending what they're learning?
Mm, some of it, I'll say it's half and half because some stuff they'll say that they never went over, and I'll just sit there and we'll email the teacher or ask them questions about the assignments, and if they need help, they'll do the Zoom meeting and show them what to do, and I'll just kind of step aside and look at my little sisters and watch them work with their assignments, and if I can help, I can help, and I'll just
Right. Have there been any tests yet? Have they had any quizzes or tests, to kind of test their knowledge to see, if they're actually learning the material?
no, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. And so after breakfast, what's the rest of the routine? How does the rest of your day look? I know you said you get up, you make sure they dress, they have breakfast, and then how does it look after breakfast?
After breakfast, I'll let them do at least 2 hours of their work time. But the way our schedules are set up, we have different classes at certain times. So, like for instance, middle school students, they have I think 7 classes. So they have different times as well as the high school students. But elementary, they only have one class, which
Mhm.
means that they're on the computer once and they have like a set of assignments due altogether. But with the high school students and middle school students, they're mixed up with classes in different times. So for the middle school student, I'll just help her go through her classes as well and make sure that she's staying on top of her work. And we'll do that until about 4 p.m. And then after that, I'll just give them their free time. Don't want them to be stuck on work all day, but I do help them in the morning and till school is out, like I would in a regular school day.
Okay. And what about like activity or recess or being physical? Are you guys walking around the block or doing anything just to get them out the house and get some fresh air?
Yes. So I will let them go outside. We'll go on the porch. I'll play catch with them or jump rope something, keep them, physical and help them be able to go outside.
Okay. I was wondering, like, um, what would your needs be if you say you had any need for assistance in helping you be successful with your sisters? What kind of resources? And I don't think I asked you the question in advance. I just thought about it. But what kind of resources would be helpful for you?
Uh, I'll say maybe being able to get one of the administrators or somebody in the Zoom meetings with us so they can, tell us what's going on themselves without us having to go through what the teacher is saying. And I want to be able to hear a voice from one person that's important. And, I would rather just be updated with more information to know what's going on.
Okay, and that's for both of your sisters for their schools?
Hmm.
Okay, and I think you were saying the other day as well. Well, I think you got the town hall meetings that you've got on Fridays, right?
Yes.
Is that every Friday or?
So they recently just started doing it last Friday, and it is starting to happen every Friday. We
Okay,
get information, but I'd rather prefer to have someone like maybe the superintendent in those meetings, to tell us what's going on.
okay. So let me see. I'm looking here. Kind of went looking at different information, and let me see. Have you had any technical issues? I think you mentioned on your cell phone, but on your Chromebook, you're okay as far as accessing Zoom.
Yes, but many students complain about being kicked out of the classrooms that we have online because I think it's something dealing with the computers and the Wi-Fi. Like we'll be on Wi-Fi for a long time and then it'll disconnect by itself and we'll get kicked out the Zoom meeting. So then we'll have to get in contact with someone else and tell them, can you please tell the teacher to let us back in because we got kicked out. So I'll say the issue is maybe many students are complaining about being kicked out of their Wi-Fi with the computer.
Okay. And how do you keep yourself motivated to keep your sisters motivated? Because you're at home, they're not in a formal school setting. So how do you guys keep motivated for learning?
I just talk to them and let them know that school is always important and school should always come first. And just I want to be able to keep their mindset on the right path as far as taking things serious because school is important. And I want them to know just because we're out of school, that doesn't mean that you have to give up or that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing your work. You should just be responsible and take care of business and do them assignments. Just because we're not in school doesn't mean anything. Push them every day, and and they see me do it. So I think that that's another reason why they'll want to do it, because I'm the role model. So
Right. And a very good one.
thank
And
you.
also, so what about electives like art and music? Are you able to, especially for your sister that's in elementary school, are you doing those types of activities as well?
Oh yes. So my sister, she's in orchestra.
Okay.
Yes. So I help her play with her cello, and it's pretty fun. I know the notes because I am a bass clef player myself. I play the baritone euphonium.
Mhm.
So I show her. I don't know how to hold the instrument the correct way. She shows me that. I just show her the notes and tell her how it should sound. So I've been helping her with her music. But for me, I had competition a month ago or 2 months ago, but it got canceled. So I had a solo that I was working on. So I wasn't able to work on my solo anymore because school is out.
So you know how to read music and you're teaching her how to read music.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, that's great. That's excellent. And she's in what grade?
She's in seventh grade.
Seventh grade. Okay. And then your younger sister's in what grade?
She's in the fourth.
She's in fourth. Okay. Wow, that's great. Any other comments you can think? I would say lessons learned. What lessons have you learned? And let's say you had to correct real fast to adapt to this online learning with your sisters. Like,
Um,
was time management an issue, or you were able to get through, or what?
I learned that, it doesn't do any good by sitting here complaining about what's going on. I learned that, we should just keep moving forward from this situation because no one knew that this was going to happen. And just being able to get things done. I always think I get to do things versus I have to.
Right.
So, I've been learning. I wouldn't say time is an issue because I wake up early all the time and wake up on time. So I'll just say I learned that these are important things that are happening and there's no point in giving up and we can just move forward from the situation and just do better or spread peace around the world and show others that they can do it too.
Okay. And what about best practices, like if for those who are still struggling with homeschooling and what to do, what suggestions would you have for them?
Um,
Since you're kind of a veteran at this now for 5 weeks.
I'll say patience. Just
Okay.
having patience.
Patience and just with everything or anything specifically?
Patience with, all the Zoom meetings and I'll say just having patience.
Okay. All right, let me look. Trying to, let me see, there's some K-12. I'll get that at the end of the show. Any other comments before I let you go?
No, ma'am.
Well, you did a great job, Felania, and I appreciate your time and coming on the show. I think I held you a little bit longer than I said, but I'm so impressed by the fact that you've taken on that responsibility with your sisters and just really helping out your mother and father. I know your mother said, it was a big help to her and relief to know they're just not sitting at home. You picked up that baton and work with them and make sure that they've got a routine, that they're learning, that they're in their Zoom meetings, that they're getting the work turned in. So that is a big thing that you're doing. So I appreciate that and look forward to your graduation. Hopefully that'll be whenever they have it. But yeah, so I'm pushing for a lot of seniors, for you all to have that walk across the stage.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. Thank you and have a good day. So that was Felania Johnson, senior at Passaic High School. And as you just heard, just doing a great job with her sisters and educating them. So in preparing for the show today, I was looking at, what's going on in the state of Missouri, what's going on nationally with online learning. And I'm surprised to find there's a number of schools that are online K-12 here in the state of Missouri. And so if you do a Google search, as I did for online K through 12 schools in Missouri, you'll see a whole list. And so it's interesting. Some of them are private, some are free, but you would have to go online to check that out to see if you're interested in that. And then as far as statistics, the growth of K through 12 learning, needless to say, it was just abrupt to the system where schools had to quickly jump online. And so let me see some numbers here I've got. There's been an 80% increase, 1.5 million students to 2.7 million students. And that was back in 2013 to 2014. School districts offering online or blended courses. And so students, blended courses mean the student has their choice or they have their option to either be online or to be in a classroom setting or whatever means the teacher may use. And so that's referred to as a blended classroom. And then I know some schools, again, the pandemic was not a shock to their system because some were doing what's called a flipped classroom. And so in a flipped classroom, this is an opportunity where a teacher doesn't have the time during that period, that class period, to teach everything. And so the teacher will put an assignment up. The students will be expected to do it. You can say homework, but it's kind of a little bit more than homework. And then they will be graded for that work that they do outside of the classroom. And so that helps the teacher get through the content that they have to cover if they can't cover it in the 50 minutes that they're given for in the classroom setting. And so a lot of teachers, again, were already using the flipped classroom structure, which really worked out well for the students. Let me see here. I'm trying to look at some of these stats I got. Yeah, 7 tips for increasing student engagement online. Communicate with different formats. You know, just don't use one format. It could be Google Classroom. It could be Zoom. It could be a PowerPoint and email. There's a variety of ways. It could be video. It could be a YouTube channel. So the teacher would want to really diversify the learning, the content delivery, so that it doesn't get too boring for the student. Provide active learning opportunities. A common misconception about online learning is that students only sit in front of their computers, and that should not be the case. Definition of an active learning is hands-on, although that could probably include hands-on your mouse, but at least make it, your class interactive in some way. And then make learning social. So it's great if teachers can bring the class together in some form or fashion. Again, Zoom is good. Maybe having a class challenge where the students are competing against each other to maybe finish a task. That would be a way of, and then for extra points, you know, students are always looking for extra points. And so the teacher can give that out as a reward. Gamify with badges and certificates. And so definitely gamifying your content makes it more interesting for students. Building a full game-based learning course can be a little bit tedious, but there are some websites out there that can really make it easier to do. Provide timely and useful feedback. And so if you have an assignment or you have a test for your students, you know, quickly give them feedback because they're looking for that. I would say within, you know, 3 to 4 days. A week might be a little bit too long, especially if they were in a regular classroom setting. They would immediately get that feedback for their assignments or their quizzes or their tests. And so teachers need to stay on top of that. And then improve the overall course accessibility, just making sure that it's available for all students, depending on their learning needs, their learning development needs, that class content is diversified enough so all students can benefit in being online. So next week, I'm going to feature another parent. Again, we're looking at different types of households, different types of parents. And so I have a mother who will come on. Her son attends a private school. And I may bring on an administrator, one of my colleagues I know who is a principal at a school, and hear from her perspective how online learning is working for her school as well. So I don't know, I can't take questions. You know what? I think I'm going to look for how I can open up this show for questions. And I did want to mention, I've got my my own soundtrack that's not playing yet, but one of my students wrote it. And so I'll look forward to playing that soundtrack for the show next week. And I think that's all I have, Mr. Walker, for today. Again, this is Ina Montgomery of Urban Tech, and I am a Digi Sis in a Digi world, trying to bring a voice to K-12 education technology, specifically in the urban core, covering events, concerns, issues, topics, on a local, regional, and national level. And so as this show progresses and moves on, I'll be reaching out to national speakers, having them come on the show, sharing their information, their knowledge, because sometimes, unfortunately, the Black community is always the last to find out stuff. And so I would like to make it my mission to make sure that we're informed, that we're aware, and that we're connected with the rest of the world, and that we're not finding out things at the last minute. So that's all I have for this show for today. Thank you for listening and look forward to seeing you. Oh, I'm sorry, my time will be changing, I think effective next week. So I'm moving to Thursdays at 5. And if you have any questions, you can reach me. You can send me an email at connect,